All right, welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving deep into the world of muscle building. We'll be exploring, the science behind the best exercises for each muscle group. It's like we have a treasure map for gains, but instead of X marks the spot, it's science marking the perfect rep.
Exactly. We're going beyond like the bro science and really getting down to the nitty-gritty of like what really makes muscles grow.
And to guide us through this, this workout wonderland, we have the amazing expert speaker. They're our resident fitness mythbuster,
Yeah.
always ready to, break down the science in a way that even I can understand.
Well, I try my best.
You do a fantastic job. So for today's deep dive, we're taking a close look at this conversation between, fitness YouTubers Will Tennyson and Jeff Nippard.
Yeah.
You might know them for, their awesome content. And in this specific video, Nippard breaks down his top exercise picks for building muscle. But he's not just throwing out, like, random exercises. He's got a method to the madness.
Absolutely. He's using 3 specific criteria to define what makes an exercise the best: high tension and stretch, how the exercise feels, and its potential for overload. I
Yeah.
think it's really fascinating how he kind of like, weaves biomechanics and his personal experience together.
Okay, so let's unpack these criteria a bit.
Yeah.
First up, high tension stretch. Now, I know stretching is important, but what's the deal with, like, stretching a muscle under resistance? Is that really the key to muscle growth?
It's a huge factor. Think of it like this. When you stretch a muscle under resistance, you're, creating these like tiny tears in the muscle fibers.
Wait, hold on, tears.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't worry, it's a good thing. These tears then repair and rebuild stronger, leading to, those gains we're after. So the greater the tension and stretch, the more potential there is for muscle damage and then like subsequent growth. It's like almost like pushing your muscles just enough to tell them, hey, you need to level up.
So you're saying a little bit of muscle damage is actually a good thing. I've always heard, no pain, no gain. But Nippard also emphasizes how the exercise feels.
Yeah.
That seems kind of counterintuitive, right?
Right. There's a difference between like good pain and bad pain. So while some discomfort is normal, sharp pain is like your body's way of screaming, stop it. If an exercise feels wrong in your joints, you're probably, doing it incorrectly, or it's just like not right for your body. So prioritizing exercises that feel good, like in the target muscle, ensures you're working it effectively and, minimizing risk of injury. It's all about finding that sweet spot where you're challenging your muscles without like hurting yourself.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It's like
Yeah.
it's like finding the right amount of spice. You want enough to feel the heat, but not so much that it, sets your mouth on fire.
Right.
So we've got tension, we've got feel. Now, what about overload potential? I feel like every gym bro throws that term around, but what does it actually mean for us regular folks just trying to build some muscle?
Overload potential is all about, progressively challenging your muscles. It's like the foundation of building muscle and getting stronger. Basically, you want to continuously push your muscles beyond their comfort zone by like gradually increasing the weight, the reps, or the sets over time. It's like leveling up in a video game. Once you can handle like the current challenge, you move on to the next level.
So you're saying complacency is the enemy of gains. Can definitely relate to that. So with these 3 criteria in mind, let's dive into the specific muscle groups and see what Nippard recommends. Where should we start?
Well, he kicks things off with a fun debate. What's the largest muscle group, quads or calves? What do you think?
That's a good one. I feel like I've always heard quads are the largest, but calves seem to get a lot of attention too. It's like, the underdog trying to steal the spotlight.
Yeah, you're right. Calves do often get overlooked. But if we're talking purely about size, quads take the crown. They're, responsible for extending your knee, which is a pretty big job. Now, Nippard's favorite exercise for building those quads might surprise some people. It's the Smith machine squat.
Wait, really? I thought free weight squats were like the gold standard. Are you telling me all those years of struggling with the barbell squats were for nothing?
Hold on. Now, free weight squats are still incredibly valuable for like overall strength and engaging those stabilizing muscles. They're a fantastic compound movement. But Nippard's focus here is hypertrophy, like pure muscle growth. And in that context, the Smith machine offers, certain advantages.
Okay, so there's a difference between building strength and building size. It seems like the Smith machine offers like more stability, which might allow you to really push those quads to their limit. But in the video, Will Tennyson, who, by the way, has a squat max of 507 pounds, talk about impressive mentions that the Smith machine squat doesn't really hit your hamstrings effectively.
That's a great point. And it all comes down to like, the biomechanics of the movement. While squats do involve the hamstrings, to some extent, they primarily target the quads. And in a squat, the hamstrings actually like shorten at the top of the movement and lengthen at the bottom, so they're not getting that full range of motion or, significant tension. Imagine them being like, "Hey, we're here too. Give us some love."
So basically, to really target those hamstrings, we need to focus on specific exercises that put them through their paces. Now, Nippard talks about this technique he calls long-length partials. Honestly, it sounds a bit intimidating. What are those, and why are they so effective for, like, building those hammies?
It does sound intense, right? Long length partials basically involve performing partial reps in the like lengthened position of a movement. So for hamstrings, imagine like a leg curl where you only go halfway up before lowering the weight back down. By keeping the muscle under tension in that stretched position, you're creating a powerful stimulus for growth. It's kind of like holding a stretch at the point where you feel it the most, but with weights.
That sounds brutal, but effective. Now, another thing that caught my attention was Nippard's comparison of, seated versus lying hamstring curls. Seems like such a small difference, but he's adamant that seated is superior.
And he's got science to back him up. Studies have actually shown that seated hamstring curls lead to like greater muscle growth compared to lying curls. The key difference lies in the pre-stretch. When you're seated, your hamstrings are already in a stretch position at the start of the movement, which ramps up tension and activation throughout the entire exercise.
So it's not just about how much weight you're lifting, it's about how you're positioning your body to maximize that muscle engagement. I'm starting to see a theme here. Details matter. All right, so we've tackled squats and hamstring curls, laying the foundation for those leg gains. What other muscle group should we conquer next?
Let's move on up to the chest. This is where we really start like sculpting that superhero physique.
Yes, let's get into it. Now, there's this common myth that incline presses only target the upper pecs. I've definitely fallen for that one before, thinking I was like hitting all areas of my chest.
Yeah, it's a misconception that like a lot of people have. The research actually shows that incline presses stimulate growth across all regions of the pecs. It's not like you're, completely neglecting your mid and lower chest if you're doing inclines.
So maybe a slight emphasis on upper pecs, but overall a good exercise for the entire chest.
Yeah.
That's a relief. But I noticed Nippard still prefers free weight incline presses over the Smith machine for this exercise. Why is that? Is it like just a personal preference, or is there a deeper reason?
I think Nippard believes that free weights offer, better strength carryover to other movements because they require more stability and control. You're not just like isolating the chest, you're engaging a lot of those stabilizing muscles, which, contributes to greater overall strength development.
That makes sense. It's like learning to ride a bike without training wheels.
Yeah.
Sure, training wheels make it easier at first, but eventually you need to ditch them to really master the skill. Now, we talked about partial reps for hamstrings. Does Nippard recommend them for chest exercises too?
He does. Similar to, the long length partials for hamstrings, he's a fan of using partial reps to maximize tension and like time under tension, really squeezing the most out of each set.
Okay, so we're seeing that constant tension theme pop up again. It's like the secret sauce to muscle growth. And when it comes to chest training specifically, Nippard actually recommends a like low volume, high intensity approach. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Yeah, he suggests focusing on just like 3 sets per week for your pecs, but those sets need to be intense. He emphasizes taking at least 1 set to failure, especially when doing, higher reps. It's about quality over quantity.
So really making those sets count. I'm starting to rethink my current chest routine, which is like a lot of volume, maybe not enough intensity. All right, after incline presses, what other chest exercise does Nippard highlight?
He's a big fan of cable flies, and for good reason. They're excellent for maintaining constant tension on the pecs, throughout the entire range of motion. You're not getting that like moment of rest at the top or the bottom of the movement like you might with dumbbells.
Ah, that constant tension theme again. I'm sensing a pattern here. It sounds like it's a recurring principle for maximizing muscle growth, no matter the muscle group.
It definitely is. It's all about like keeping those muscles working and under tension to stimulate growth. Now let's shift gears and talk about back.
Yes. Let's build that back. It's not all about chest and arms. A strong back is crucial for like overall strength and posture.
Yeah.
What are some of Nippard's key insights for back training?
He stresses the importance of incorporating both, vertical and horizontal pulling movements into your routine. So vertical pulls like pull-ups or pull-downs really target the lats, while horizontal pulls like rows work the entire back, including the traps and rhomboids. It's about hitting the back from all angles.
So basically, you need both types of movements to develop a well-rounded back. Makes sense. Now, when it comes to rows, Nippard mentions he likes chest-supported rows. What's the advantage of those over, say, bent-over rows?
Chest-supported rows provide more stability, which, helps prevent you from using momentum. You're really isolating those back muscles and focusing on that mind-muscle connection. He also emphasizes proper form, allowing a slight rounding of the back to maximize lat engagement and, squeezing the shoulder blades together at the top of the movement.
Interesting. I've always been told to keep my back straight during rows. Are you saying a little bit of rounding is actually beneficial?
Yes, in this case, a slight rounding can actually help to, target the lats more effectively. It's about understanding how the muscles work and, how to best engage them. Now, for vertical pulls, we've got pull-ups and pull-downs. Both are great exercises, but which one does Nippard favor?
I'm guessing pull-downs, since they're a bit more beginner-friendly. Pull-ups are definitely on my fitness bucket list, but I'm not quite there yet.
You got it. He prefers pull-downs primarily because they allow for, easier progression. You can easily adjust the weight to match, your strength level, which makes it simpler to gradually overload those muscles and see consistent progress.
That makes sense. It's all about working smarter, not harder, right?
Yeah.
But for those who can do pull-ups, what are the, benefits there?
Oh, pull-ups are fantastic. They engage a lot of muscles, build serious upper body strength, and there's a certain sense of, accomplishment that comes with conquering them. It's not that one exercise is, inherently better than the other. It really depends on, your individual goals and abilities.
Yeah. And, of course, there are different grip variations you can use with both pull-ups and pull-downs to target specific back muscles, right?
Exactly. A wider overhand grip emphasizes the lats, while a closer neutral grip recruits more of the, biceps and mid-back muscles, having a whole toolbox of exercises to customize your back workout.
Wow, so many options. This is why I love learning about fitness. There's always something new to discover. Now let's move on to shoulders. Nippard talks about the importance of rear delts for overall physique development. Why are they so crucial? Are they the key to that, coveted V-taper?
Well-developed rear delts definitely contribute to that, balanced 3D look of the shoulders, helping to create that, wide V-tapered back we all strive for. They also play a crucial role in improving posture, but many people neglect them, focusing too much on the front and side delts. It's like forgetting to water one side of your garden.
So what's Nippard's secret weapon for hitting those rear delts? I'm always looking for, new exercises to add to my routine.
He highlights a unique technique using the reverse pec deck machine. I've seen people use that machine for chest, but targeting rear delts with it sounds pretty innovative.
I've never seen anyone do it that way. Tell me more. How do you use a chest machine for, back muscles?
It's all about positioning. Nippard recommends turning sideways on the machine so your chest is, facing the weight stack. This allows for a deeper stretch in the rear delts, as you bring the arms back, really isolating those muscles. It's like flipping the script on a traditional exercise.
I love it. It's those little tweaks that can make all the difference.
Yeah.
Speaking of tweaks, he also mentioned raising the cable height for lateral raises to, increase tension in that stretched position. Is there some special science behind that?
There is. It's about, biomechanics and leverage. Nippard explains that the cable applies the most resistance when there's a 90-degree angle between the cable and your arm. So by raising the cable, you achieve that 90-degree angle earlier in the movement, maximizing the stretch and tension on those side delts.
Wow. So it's not just about lifting the weight. It's about understanding how to position your body and the equipment to really, make the exercise work for you. I'm starting to realize that fitness is as much about brains as it is about brawn. All right, we've covered legs, chest, back, and shoulders. What's next on our muscle-building journey? Let's finish strong.
Let's pump up those arms. Biceps and triceps are next on the list. No muscle group left behind.
Okay, let's hear what Nippard has to say about building those biceps. I'm ready to unleash my inner Popeye.
Well, he introduces what he calls the 90-degree rule for bicep peak tension. It's all about finding that sweet spot where the bicep experiences the most tension.
The 90-degree rule, huh?
Yeah.
I never thought about bicep training that way. What's the logic behind this principle?
It's actually quite simple. The bicep experiences peak tension when there's a 90-degree angle between, your forearm and the cable.
Mhm.
So similar to the lateral raises, adjusting the cable height can significantly impact muscle activation.
So if I want to really feel the burn in my biceps, I should raise the cable higher. It's all starting to click now.
Exactly. And it's not just about the position, but also the tempo. Nippard suggests an optimal range of 2 to 8 seconds per rep, controlling both the lifting and the lowering phases of the movement. It's about, savoring that tension, not just rushing through the reps.
It's like slow motion strength training. Now let's talk triceps. What insights does Nippard offer for maximizing growth in those horseshoe-shaped muscles?
He emphasizes that overhead movements are the best for targeting the long head of the triceps, which is, the largest of the three triceps heads and contributes the most to overall size.
Okay, but why are overhead movements so effective for the long head specifically? Is it just because they're harder?
It's not just about difficulty, it's about anatomy. The long head is actually the only tricep head that crosses both the elbow and the shoulder joints. This means its activation is influenced by shoulder position. When your arm is overhead, the long head is fully stretched, allowing for maximum tension and growth potential.
So it's all about putting that long head on stretch. I'm starting to see how understanding the anatomy of a muscle can really inform your exercise choices. So exercises like overhead tricep extensions or skull crushers would be ideal, right?
Absolutely. Now, Nippard also introduces a unique kickback variation to further maximize, tricep contraction. It's all about squeezing every ounce of potential out of each exercise.
Oh, this sounds interesting. I'm always up for trying new techniques. What's special about his kickback technique?
Instead of just doing a standard kickback, he recommends leaning back slightly, while performing the movement, bringing your arm further behind your torso. This position mimics the overhead position, putting even more emphasis on that long head activation.
It's like a secret cheat code for triceps growth. I'm
Mhm.
definitely going to be trying that one.
Oh.
Now, before we wrap up, I wanted to touch on something they discussed in the video that's not directly related to exercise, but it's incredibly relevant to anyone looking to, build muscle and improve their physique. They talk about a fitness app that Nippard helped develop called Macro Factor. I've heard great things about it, but for those who aren't familiar, what is it all about?
Macro Factor is more than just your average calorie counting app. It's like having a personalized nutrition coach in your pocket. It offers customized coaching based on your individual goals and data, using algorithms to calculate your energy expenditure, track your weight trends, and adjust your calorie and macro targets on a weekly basis, just like a real life nutrition coach would.
Wow, that sounds incredibly helpful, especially for people who are new to tracking macros or don't have access to a personal coach. It takes the guesswork out in nutrition, which can be so overwhelming.
Exactly. And the best part is it's all based on, scientific recommendations, not fad diets or restrictive rules. They also have this feature called cyclical calorie tracking, which automatically adjusts your calorie targets day to day to fit your lifestyle. It's like the app intuitively knows when you've had, a more active day or a rest day and adjusts accordingly.
That's amazing. It's like having a personal assistant for your nutrition, making sure you're fueling your body optimally for your goals. And from what I've heard, it's actually more affordable than some other, popular fitness apps.
It is. And unlike a lot of other fitness apps that bombard you with ads or sell your data, Macro Factor is premium, meaning no, annoying interruptions and your information stays private.
So it's a win-win. You get personalized coaching, accurate tracking, data privacy, and all at a reasonable price. Sounds like a pretty sweet deal. Well, we've covered a lot of ground here, from squats and hamstring curls to incline presses, cable flies, and even nutrition coaching. It's been an incredibly informative deep dive into the world of muscle building.
It has been. We've explored Nippard's criteria for choosing the best exercises, delved into the science behind different movements, and even, touched on the importance of nutrition for optimal results. It's all connected.
Before we wrap up, what are some of the key takeaways that stood out to you from this conversation?
I think one of the biggest takeaways is the importance of understanding the biomechanics of an exercise. It's not just about moving weight from point A to point B. It's about moving it in a way that, maximizes muscle activation and tension. And as we saw throughout our discussion, that constant tension theme is a powerful principle for stimulating muscle growth.
It's like a mantra for gains. Constant tension. It's so easy to get caught up in just lifting heavy. But if you're not paying attention to form, technique, and how your muscles are actually working, you might not be getting the most out of your workouts.
Exactly. It's about, working smarter, not just harder. And that's where understanding the science behind exercise really comes into play. It empowers you to, make informed choices and optimize your training for maximum results.
Okay, I think we've covered just about everything.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts for our listeners before we wrap up this deep dive?
I'd encourage everyone to take a moment to, reflect on their own training routines. Based on what we've discussed today, what's one exercise you could try differently or, add to your routine to potentially see better results? Could you incorporate some of Nippard's principles like long length partials or focusing on constant tension, or maybe experiment with different grip variations or cable heights to target specific muscles more effectively?
I love those questions. They really encourage our listeners to take this information and apply it to their own training to become, active participants in their fitness journey. And as always, we encourage you to share your thoughts or questions with us.
Yeah.
We're all in this together, constantly learning and growing.
It's all about, finding what works best for you and continuing to evolve your training as you progress.
Absolutely. It's a journey, not a destination. And the more we understand about how our bodies work and how to optimize our training, the more, enjoyable and rewarding that journey becomes.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, I think that about wraps it up for our deep dive into the best muscle building exercises.
We covered a lot of ground, but hopefully you all feel inspired to hit the gym with, a fresh perspective and some new tools in your fitness toolbox.
We explored Nippard's 3 key criteria for choosing exercises, delved into the science behind those choices, and even touched on the power of nutrition with the MacroFactor app.
I remember those, key principles: constant tension, progressive overload, and listening to your body.
And don't be afraid to experiment, try new things, and find what truly works best for you.
Fitness is about progress, not perfection, so embrace the journey, enjoy the process, and, keep striving to become the strongest, healthiest versions of yourselves.
Thanks so much for joining us on this muscle building adventure. We'll catch you on the next deep dive where we'll explore another fascinating topic in the world of, health, fitness, and beyond. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep those gains coming.